Welcome back to the Bimbo Zone headquarters. I am your host, Yassi the BRAT. Welcome back to my channel. Today is a new update video for Clickbait Criminals. This update video is for my very first video because new updates have came out so quickly I couldn't even film a fucking second one. Okay, boom. Boom. If you guys don't know, my first Clickbait Criminal video was about Ruby Franke because I read her daughter's book. So I did a podcast episode on her daughter's book, Ruby herself, 8 passengers, and family vlogging and the consequences of such. Because I knew that Hulu was coming out with the video because, bitch, I know marketing, I know PR, I'm not fucking stupid. So I was like, okay, Hulu's coming out with a documentary about this story. Let me drop my TikTok, and it's perfect timing because I just finished the book. Well, Hulu dropped the documentary. I have not watched the full documentary because I have not renewed my Disney Plus / Hulu subscription, but I'm a TikTok warrior and I have seen the documentary on TikTok. I've seen what I needed to see. And yeah, we're going to talk about Justin in my Bimbo Breakdown episode 4 because technically we're on episode 3. But when you see it on YouTube, it will say episode 3, but disregard that or don't. I don't really care. Also, as you are listening to this, my Bimbo Breakdown episode 2, Alabama Barker versus Bad Baby, is up on YouTube. Please go ahead and listen, stream on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. The search will be the Bimbo Zone HQ. And then, of course, as I said, I'm actually not going to give the whole thing again. Whatever. So, random disclaimer. This update video will include mentions of child abuse, domestic abuse, and family vlogging. I feel as though that's the only thing that's like heavy that I'm going to talk about. Oh, and Mormonism. That should be a disclaimer in general. Also, I am going to disrespect Mormonism. If you are a Mormon and you are really, really strict to your faith, or you really believe that everybody should have religious freedom no matter what their belief is, no matter how stupid or based off of nothing their belief is, please click off of this video, click off of this podcast, because this is not for you. Okay, so the update that I have seen. So the Hulu documentary for the 8 passengers, Ruby, Franke, Jody, Hildebrandt, whole situation came out this week that I am recording this. It is Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. The last 2 days, I feel like I've been having a stroke. It's Friday, February 28th. I'm recording this at what time is it? It's 10:11. So these are the updates as of now. Of course, any updates that come out after this point, you already know I will talk about. But hopefully I can put this 8-passenger bullshit to rest. So the updates that I have seen, I feel so vindicated. Y'all already know. You know what you already know what I'm going to say. I told y'all niggas. Y'all ain't want to believe me, but I told y'all niggas. What did I say in Clickbait Criminals episode 1? I said, I want to talk to the editor. I said, I want to talk to the editor because if anybody knows that family at their core, it is the editor, the person that had to edit their videos to cut out all the abuse, to cut out all the bullshit for it to be YouTube friendly and brand friendly and sponsor friendly. I said, I want to talk to the editor because I guarantee that editor most likely had to turn over any footage that he had of that family to the feds. And after she is sentenced, they will turn that footage back over and they can do as they please. And Hulu, most likely after it was all said and done and Jody and Ruby were sentenced, were like, hey, yo, homeboy, we'll pay you $100,000 or we'll pay you $1 million or we'll pay you $500,000 for this unedited footage to use for a documentary. Did I not fucking say that in Clickbait Criminals episode 1 when I was initially talking about this whole thing? I'm going to let you ponder. Because I did. So I'm going to give you a second to ponder and go back in your memory because I definitely said that. I said, we want to talk to the kids and the parents and everybody else. Bitch, fuck them. I want to talk to the editor. I want to talk to the person that saw Ruby and that family in their most humble form. and had to edit all that out to make it brand friendly. And I was right. And that is 100% what Hulu did. Because isn't it ironic that Jody and Ruby got sentenced to a year, and within 9 months of them being sentenced, this Hulu documentary comes out? Do you know why? Because the feds no longer had need to hold on to that footage. So they probably returned the original footage, because at the end of the day, if it is on your computer, well, technically the Frankies own it, but homie owned it because he's the one that turned it over. The feds probably turned that footage back over to homie, who was the editor. I'm just saying homie as like a blanket term. Homie, who was the editor. And when Hulu, because Hulu loves to market, and we're honest to God, I'm surprised that the family's actually in the documentary, because y'all know how Hulu like to get down when it comes to true crime. Hulu loves to make a documentary, reach out to the family, and regardless of what the family says, if it is public information, they are going to make a documentary on it. And they are only going to make sure that they put in things that are public information, because that is within First Amendment of fair use. So in my podcast episodes, and eventually when I start to post YouTube episodes, you will hear me say in my disclaimers, everything that I'm saying is my opinion. Everything is alleged until proven to be true. Anything that I'm saying is either my opinion or it is a direct quote and or what the said person said verbatim. And everything that I'm saying is my opinion and within the laws of fair use. Because I don't know if you ever watched like T pages on YouTube, but I used to, and they would always have that fair use disclaimer at the beginning, because I didn't realize until like an episode or two in, just because there's only 25 of y'all that are listening to my podcast regularly and, you know, on average, that doesn't mean that one day one podcast episode is not going to pop. And I'm randomly going to get 15,000 people listening to my opinions and what I have to say. So I have to make sure that I'm protected. Everything that I'm saying is alleged. Nothing is known to be true until it is proven to be fact. Everything that I'm saying is my opinion and or direct quote, statement, or what the said person said verbatim. And I CYA because I work in corporate. I know how to CYA. If I say this person said this verbatim, oh baby, in that description you will see, if I can find the link to the YouTube video of a clip of them saying that shit or them doing that shit, oh baby, you gonna find it. So let's keep all that in mind, right? So I guarantee that's what happened. So I feel 100% vindicated to know that I was right. I knew that I was right, but I like knowing that I was right. And I had to tell my boss that earlier. I said, I have to do what I know is to be successful because I'm a spiteful person. And I have to know that my way is successful and my way works right. I can talk about that on a whole different other podcast because I'm so fucking fired up and mad about that. But anyway, I'm going to take that anger and I'm going to use it for something, what's the word? Constructive to the movement, conducive to the movement. Okay. So first thing first, the documentary is full of behind the scenes, unedited clips of YouTube videos that Ruby/8 passengers uploaded to their channels. It shows upfront and hardcore proof of Ruby abusing her children, of Ruby emotionally, physically, and verbally abusing her kids, and of Kevin being aware that the children are being abused and doing nothing about it. Now, I want to address Kevin before we get deeper into this. My opinion stands. The same opinion I had when I made my first video and when I read the book, which was about 2 weeks before I made the damn podcast episode. Whatever opinion I had in Clickbait Criminals is actually stronger and more justified and vindicated. And you already know I have a bottle of tequila sitting right here, right next to me. I'm about to fire that bitch up. Because I want the narrative of Kevin being abused to die. Kevin is a weak individual who has no backbone. I have lived in an abusive household. I have seen abuse firsthand. I have seen abuse from a woman to a man firsthand. I know what the fuck that shit looks like. Now, before you get mad and say, Yasmine, that was an ignorant thing to say, abuse looks different for everybody. And abuse is executed different, and abuse comes off different and is taken different for everybody. And I 100% understand that. But because I read Shari's book, I know that the excuses you give to your parents in a abusive household will stay with you longer than you realize. I am 25 and I am just now realizing that it is not mother, father. I sadly have to see them as a unit. You are both the problem, not just one or the other, because one is complicit in the other and one is codependent in the other. And I hate to say this and I hate to be morbid. I don't give a fuck about you personally. Those are your personal challenges to deal with. Those are not my problem. I am the child. I don't care how old I get. I am the child. You are the parent. I could be 60 and you could be 85. I am still your child and you are still the parent. And you are still responsible. I was a minor, and I'm speaking from Shari's point of view, not mine. But I was a minor. I could not protect myself legally, even if I tried. The fact that Shari, and you know what's so crazy? When Shari, and I think I said this in my first podcast, when Shari got disowned, and I'm using quotations when I say the word disowned because from what I read, she left on her own accord, and then her mom pushed the whole disowned bullshit, and then pretty much isolated the whole family from her. So to her mother, she was disowned. Shari, she left on her own accord because she was Shari, and honestly, I kind of respect her for this because she woke up to it sooner than I did. Shari woke up at 18 or 19 and realized I don't have to deal with this if I don't want to. I don't. I have found a village. I went to college and I found a village and I found a family. Now, did a member of her village groom her and I believe sexually assault her and I am proven to be known to be true, sexually harass her? Yes. So that person within the village, when I say the word village in regards to Shari, her groomer, I don't know that man's name. I did not take his name to memory when I was reading the book. His name does not matter. He is a non-factor in Shari's story. He is a factor in Shari's personal story and the shit that she has to work through. But as someone that was groomed, that nigga is a non-factor. That nigga does not exist. That nigga does not exist in my world, in my universe, in my plane of existence, in my train of thought. So from one girl who was groomed in an instance of innocence, in an instance of I need help and I'm reaching out to the adults in my life to help me and you take advantage of me, that motherfucker is a non-factor. I don't know his name. I don't remember his name. His name doesn't matter. I didn't take his name to memory. As soon as I heard that relationship getting inappropriate, his name left when I was reading the book. As soon as because again, I've said this 1,000 times, but I don't know what it is about biographies, but I have to listen to them. I can't read them. With that being said, I was at Ollie's. I love Ollie's, y'all. I was at Ollie's and I saw Pamela Anderson's book for literally $5. So I bought it and I plan to start reading Pam's book because I want to start a book club podcast that would be a monthly thing, not an every week thing type shit. But with Shari's book, I listened to it. The moment I listened to this relationship has now crossed the boundary of mentor, mentee, older person in your life that knows that you are in a situation of I need help, so I'm looking towards the adults in my life to help me, and he took advantage of that. The moment that relationship crossed that boundary, I did not intake any stone cold information about that man. I don't give a fuck about what his name was. Obviously, his name matters because he's a predator. But I don't give a fuck about what his name was. I don't care about nothing. What I do know is that he was high up in the Mormon church and he's a predator. That's what I do know. And those two statements are not shocking. As I said, I will disrespect Mormonism every chance that I get. And the clips that I am seeing from this documentary is way worse than what I reported, y'all. Like, it's way worse than anything I said in the original clickbait criminals for this update. It is way worse than I thought it could ever fucking be. And the fact that she had the camera rolling still. Look, the deeper we get into this, and the more y'all will get to know me, because if you did not listen to my original podcast, I think I had 11 episodes or 9 episodes or some shit. If you did not listen to that original podcast, you will get to know me very, very well. I have this thing about me, and I say it every single time I listen to a true crime podcast or whatever the fuck, because as I said in my last clickbait criminals video, I do not watch true crime content anymore. I don't. Am I subscribed to it? Hell yeah. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I ain't no bitch. I ain't no weak ass bitch. You're not gonna go through my subscriptions and who I'm subscribed to. Also, if you do happen to go through my subscriptions, just know I use YouTube on the home page only. If it does not come up on my home page, or I don't search it directly, I don't watch it. I don't go to my subscriptions on my YouTube and then go from there and pick a video. I go based off of my homepage. I used to be subscribed to some problematic people. I have not gone through my YouTube subscribed list in about 3-ish years. If you happen to go through my YouTube subscribe list and you find a problematic person that I am still subscribed to, let a real bitch know. Let me know so I can do my due diligence and go on my YouTube account and unsubscribe from that person. Bitch, I'll take a screenshot and send you proof, because I ain't never played like that. I just wanted to give that disclaimer of, like, in the event that you go through my YouTube, playlist and there's a video in there by a creator that is now problematic that at the time wasn't, or they were, but I was not aware, let a real bitch know. I love being humbled and I love being told that I'm wrong, because that is how you learn in life. That is one thing about me that, like, my boss really, really likes. And even in, like, our one-on-one today, she told me, like, oh, no. I already know that there hasn't been anything that I've given you that you could not handle. There's been things that I have given you that you just could not complete, which is fair, because she admitted it. I'm giving you 8 things and I need them all done within the hour. You know? So I just want to make that clear in the sense of, like, I don't use my YouTube the way that everyone else does. I use YouTube primarily on my TV. I cannot tell you, like, the only time I use YouTube on my iPad is when I'm uploading a video, and for, like, screen recording purposes and, like, screenshots for, like, promotion and, like, marketing. But other than that, primarily, I use YouTube on my TV. So I open up YouTube, whatever is in my homepage, I scroll and browse through that till I find something of interest. So again, if you go through my YouTube subscriptions and you find somebody, or you find content that is controversy, let a real bitch know. Let me know why it's controversial. And if I stand by that shit, which I most likely will, I'm going to unsubscribe. This is really a matter of ignorance. It's a matter of, I don't know. I have not, and honestly, this is probably going to trigger it, and I'm probably going to go through my YouTube search history, and not my search history, that's a scary place, but my subscriptions, and make sure that I am not subscribed to anybody that I don't need to be subscribed to. I've had the same YouTube account since I was 13, y'all. So please give a real bitch grace. I will repeat it again. I have had the same YouTube account since I was 13. So please give a real bitch grace. If you find some shit and it ain't right, you let me know and I'm gonna make it right. Okay, cool. So, but like the clips that I saw was like, wow, that's crazy. And the main thing about me, I always say, white people, stop filming your felonies. Stop recording them. Every time I used to intake true crime like videos, I never said I don't listen to a podcast here or there while I'm at work. I definitely do, but I would not entertain true crime like videos content. And it's probably equally as fucked up, but you know what? If I'm fucked up, I'm fucked up. Like, oh well. But like, sometimes I definitely, and I can admit, oh yeah, I will listen to a true crime podcast. Not from Bailey Sarian, and not from Kendall Ray. Maybe from Annie Elise. Maybe from a real bitch that's really reporting on the real shit in real time and gets permission from the families. Right? But when I used to intake true crime content, something that was a common denominator was the easiest way for these people, for their trial to go faster than they thought it would, was they have a file on a hard drive, deep lost in their house, but they think that nobody will find. And when they find it, and the police go through that hard drive, and then boom, they're fucking a 12-year-old. They are a predator. Or they are filming themselves murdering somebody. Or they're filming themselves committing a fucking felony. Or they have a voice audio recording of them committing said felony. Ruby Franke is a stupid bitch who obviously was not thinking about that because she recorded all of her felonies. Because I'm not going to lie. After seeing the documentary, I was like, now I understand why it took so fast to sentence her, because I thought that trial was gonna be on some Menendez brothers shit and last, like, also if you want me to do a whole podcast on the Menendez brothers and their crimes, and also mainly the crimes that were committed against them from their motherfucking father and their mother, I would be happy to. Actually, you don't even have to ask me to, because I'm going to do it. The research will be started tonight. Also, Kardashian series, the research has been started. The outline has been started for the first episode of Kim. You let me know if you want me to upload them as I finish the outlines, or you want me to upload them back to back all at once. You let me know how you want me to do it, and I'm gonna do it. Okay, anyway. But I thought it was going to be on some Menendez brothers shit where this trial was gonna last a minute. No, this trial lasted, less than 2 years? For child abuse? Documented child abuse, and not a single person in her family is defending her. She had to take a plea. I didn't look up if she took a plea or not, and honestly, I'm not going to, but she had to, because she should have got almost 10 years for the crimes that her and Jody should have got 10 years for the crimes that they committed against their kids. Technically, if we're going to be explicitly saying 7 years specifically, but I'm going to say in layman's terms, 10 years. Them bitches got a year with no time served. Good. Because I was like, they're going to give them a year with time served, and they've already served 9 months, so they're only really going to be in jail for their crimes for 90 days. So I'm glad that they did not give them time served. And from the moment that they were taken out of that courtroom, that's when that is when their time starts. Sorry, y'all, I had to drink my tequila. But here's my thing. And I'm actually circling back to the husband, Kevin. Also, I called him Chad. Chad is the oldest son. In the last episode, I kept calling him Chad, and I realized that the husband's name is Kevin. He's the bald nigga. The son's name is Chad. And I actually learned more things from his point of view within the documentary that I'm going to touch on. I am going to touch on the husband. I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. Whatever I said in the first episode, I stand by. I stand by harder than I did 2 weeks ago. And I have more to add on to it. Kevin should be in prison as well. Now, I think I started talking about it earlier, but then I got off on a tangent about some other shit. As someone that grew up in a abused household where one of your parents was the abuser and the other one was not the abuser but was also complacent in the abuse in the sense of did not do anything to stop it, you give your parents you give the complacent parent a lot of you give the complacent parent a lot of excuses because in your brain they are a victim as well. There will be a certain point in your life a certain age, maybe the frontal lobe will have to fully develop, or maybe something will have to happen in your life that will suddenly make you see your parents as a unit. They were both complacent and complicit within each other as to what happened to you and the harm that was done against you, whether it was physical, verbal, or emotional, or even financial. And the issue that Kevin had with Ruby was the same issue I dealt with within my parents' codependency. Kevin was codependent on Ruby, and Ruby was codependent on Jody. So, of course, because I'm reading Shari's book, and like I said at the beginning, I did not read the last 6 to 4 chapters because that was really just current events, and I had been following the story as it was happening, so I knew what the last 4 chapters were. But I did go back and I did listen to the last 6 chapters of the book that I stopped at. I literally resumed where I stopped. Because I literally stopped where I was like, okay, I've already seen a YouTube deep dive about what she's talking about currently, presently, in this moment, and what she's most likely going to talk about in the rest of the book. So I got the point. I get the gist. I'm done. I did go back. I listened to the rest of the book. She holds Kevin in the same regard that I hold the complicit parent. So I understand her. Weirdly enough, I get it. And I'm not judging. I'm not judging her. I'm not judging any of those kids. You have one fucking parent left that's not goddamn psycho. Of course you're going to linger and hold on and fucking cling to that parent. That makes the most sense psychologically. I would be an ignorant, stupid bitch to say that she's a dumbass bitch for thinking that her father, blah, 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 blah. No, that makes sense. These children, especially the oldest two, have been brainwashed. Let's not call it manipulation. Let's call it what the fuck it was. These children have been brainwashed in the most integral years of their life, in the most building block years. These years, the years that they were brainwashed by Jody and by their mother, were the years that you really figure out who the fuck you are, and you build the building blocks of who the fuck you are. The years that they were brainwashed by the influence of Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby, their fucking mother, they could have been using that time to build the building blocks of who the fuck they're going to be. And now these children are in their 20s, the oldest ones, they're in their 20s, and they most likely don't know who the fuck they are. And they're trying to figure that out. And I'm saying this because I'm going through that same thing, and I can really relate to them in that moment. I was not abused. I really, honest to God, I was more mentally, verbally, emotionally, and financially abused than physical. I can name on one hand how many times my parents have put their hands on me, disciplinary and also in an abusive way. I want to be clear about that. Y'all know me, right? But because I have been in I've been in a situation that is somewhat similar to Shari, because my parents did not go through a weird religious psychosis and, the whole thing. But because I've been down to bare bones, I have been in the same situation as Shari. I understand her. I get it. And I understand Chad. I get it. Especially hearing in the documentary that Chad literally said that he thought that, Jody and his mom were God's gift to humanity. That he thought that God really like they were prophets type shit, and God spoke through them. Right? Kevin was just as complicit, and Kevin, the husband, was just as complicit in those children's abuse as honestly Jody Hildebrandt was. I guarantee. Now again, I have not gone through complete court documents and whatever the fuck. And if this is known to be fact, to be true, and can be proven, and y'all comment and you let me know, Jody never physically abused those kids, but she most likely did in every other way. I'm saying most likely because I haven't seen stone cold proof, but I do believe that she absolutely did. But in every other way, Jody abused them as well. Kevin was just as complicit as Jody was. And Kevin was also codependent on his wife. Ruby and Kevin met when they were in college, literally, I think their freshman year. Within the first 9 months of them meeting each other, they were fucking married. And within a year of being married, she was pregnant with Shari. By the time she was 23, I think she had Shari and was already pregnant with Chad. They were the only real love of each other's lives that they had ever known. And most likely because they were hardcore devout Mormon, they lost their virginities to each other. They were the first people that each other ever loved. Of course he's codependent on her. Again, I'm not judging that aspect. I'm judging him for being complicit in abuse. But I'm not judging the aspect of codependency. I've seen it in real time. I know how that shit works. I know how a codependent couple operates. I understand. So I understand that, right? So that's why it's so easy for me to say Kevin was 100% complicit in his wife's abuse against his children. And the only reason that Kevin is not in jail is because I guarantee, I haven't looked it up because I haven't done my research. So again, like I said earlier, if I haven't said it is true to be fact, it is alleged. I haven't done my research, but I'm pretty sure in the state of Utah does not press charges against an abuser. You have to. So unless those kids press charges against their dad, the state will not. And I guarantee that Utah is also a very child-focused state. So they're more focused on keeping that family as together as possible and making sure that they have at least one parent than taking both of their parents away because they're both bad, but one's worse than the other. I guarantee that's how the Utah law is set up, or that nigga would be in jail. Because if that was in Virginia, I can't speak for other states, but I'm gonna tell you how a real Virginia bitch get down. In Virginia will press charges on your behalf. You have no choice in the matter. You have no choice in the matter. Virginia, if you report any type of abuse, sexual abuse, or domestic abuse, Virginia will press charges if you do not. Because Virginia is a commonwealth. They will press charges on your behalf, whether you want them to or not. And if you are in an instance where you are in danger, Virginia has resources to get you out of your situation until after the whole court thing is done. You can apply to get a state. Also, Virginia has VAMA or VAMWA, which is violence against men and whatever the fuck. Men against women and children. Basically, VAMA is a thing in Virginia, and because I work in property management, Blue Moon is the system that pretty much every property management program in Virginia uses to produce and print leases. Because pretty much if you live in Virginia, go look at the paper copy of your lease. At the top, it says NAA. Everyone in Virginia's lease, at least the first 8 pages, are specific to you. Every page after that, every single person in Virginia is different. But also, your property management company can edit it because not all addendums are law required. So like my job right now, one of our properties doesn't have a utility addendum because all the utilities are included. So if the rent on the website says $2,700, your water, utilities, and sewage and everything is all $2,700. Regardless of your usage, which is stupid, and that's how you lose money as a property management company. But I digress. So again, because I understand, I can say without a doubt Kevin is complicit and Kevin should also be in jail. And I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care. Like Kevin needs to be in prison too. Ruby was going through religious psychosis, and it was so obvious when the cops found her letters and they were released to the public. Because now that she has been sentenced, everything is released as public knowledge. So it takes nothing to go and look up the evidence from the case, and you can see the letters that she's writing. And I believe she got arrested in late July, early August, and one of like the most alarming journal entries, or like, well, because it was just on like loose leaf like paper, but one of the most alarming journal entries was between July 9th and July 13th. And it was really July 10th where she wrote along the lines. Actually, y'all, hold on. Let me find it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it and I'm going to read it verbatim for what she said. Hold on. Because y'all not really going to feel me until like I read it verbatim. Hold on.
This is part 2 of Ruby Franke's journal entries, which were...
I don't want to see that. Okay, here we go. Hurry up. Come on now. I put him directly into the sun. He comes back. I come back with a cactus poker. When I poke his back to get in the sun, he doesn't even flinch. I'm on TikTok, but these are direct. It's quite frankly literally just a video of the documentary with the journal, with like text from the journal from. It is a, sorry y'all, I feel like I've been having a stroke for the last like 2 days. It is a TikTok video with text directly from what Ruby Franke wrote, and I am reading it, what I can read and what I can see. I told him, give your demon friend a message for me. I will not rest. I will not stop. I will not leave. I will fight him until the day you die. Like Ruby Franke was really convinced. Like, she was so deep. Like, Jodi Hildebrandt really got this bitch so deep. And honestly, I don't really even blame Jodi, because she's a dumbass bitch, and she always was from the beginning. Because look, the instance of her telling her kindergartner daughter's teacher that it is Eve's, again, I'm not going to try and censor the kids' names, because at the end of the day, she put them on the internet. Everyone knows these fucking kids' names, okay? But that it's Eve's responsibility to pack her lunch. She knows what her expectations are. This is a direct consequence of her not doing what she was told, and I hope that no one feeds her. That was before Jodi. Her sending her son Chad to that wilderness camp that Paris Hilton was, quite frankly, got in front of Congress and dropped that ditzy accent and put on her real Paris accent to get abolished across the country was before Jodi. Her having her son Chad sleep on a beanbag chair in the basement or in the living room, I don't remember exactly where, but not in his room, and taking his quote-unquote room privileges away because of a funny-ass practical joke that he played on his brother that was not harmful, that was a sibling usual practical joke. That was before Jodi. Her taking her daughter out of school because she liked a boy and sending her to a private Mormon school and making her lose all of her friends, that was before Jodi. So I'm not even going to blame Jodi for this. But this bitch was so deep in religious psychosis that she was convinced that her children were possessed with motherfucking demons. And it was her job, and it was Jodi's job to cast the demons out of her children. Her children were pissing on themselves and shitting themselves. And she was writing journal entries about how the demon within them was making them not control their bodily functions. And every time they couldn't control their bodily functions, it was the demon in them, and they would beat the demon out of them, which would make these kids urinate and defecate on themselves more. And again, coming from an abusive household, I have been hit so fucking hard that I quite frankly pissed on myself. I peed on myself. I can never forget. That is actually, sadly, one memory from my childhood. Well, it was really my teen. I was 17. I was literally going to turn 18 in like 3 weeks. That is one memory from my childhood / teenage years that would never, ever die in my brain. I remember the fear I felt in my heart, in my body in that moment. I remember how embarrassed I felt, but I also knew to not be embarrassed because I knew that what was happening to me was wrong, and that everybody standing around, like the bystander, really, really being a true victim of the bystander effect, watching this happen to me and doing nothing. I knew that this was wrong and this should not be happening to me. So her even saying that there's a demon inside of my children and that's why they're defecating on themselves. No, they are defecating and pissing themselves because they are scared of you, and they are scared of Jody, and you're most likely hitting them and beating them so hard that they can't control it. Because I have, quite frankly, literally been in that same position. So I know how it feels to, quite frankly, get the piss slapped out of you. I have had the piss slapped out of me. In front of my whole family, it was so embarrassing. Anyway, whatever. I mean, it wasn't embarrassing for me because I was being abused. It was embarrassing for them for watching the abuse happen and do nothing about it. And it was embarrassing for my abuser for abusing me. And I was so much smaller and so much whatever. Anyway, so she was really convinced that like there was a demon cast into her children, and it was her and Jody's job to beat that demon out. I will keep going.
Your demon friend a message for me. I will not rest. I leave. I will fight him until the day you die.
Day 2 of blank jumping on a mini trampoline. He needs lots of help with balance and coordination. Today, I asked him to take off the sock by balancing on the opposite foot, lift one foot up, and sorry, y'all, and remove the sock. Sorry, she writes in cursive, and I luckily was a part of one of the last generations that was taught cursive in elementary school. So I was taught how to read it, and I was taught how to write it, and I was also taught how to write in shorthand. So it's not difficult for me to read cursive. It's just her cursive. It's been a minute, y'all, okay? Like, I stare at a computer screen all day. I haven't really read cursive that's like script written by hand in a minute. So bear with a bitch, okay? Okay, we're gonna start from the beginning. Day 2 of blank minor child, I am assuming, jumping on a mini trampoline. Also, yeah, there was evidence, and when one of the little boys, whoever most likely she's referring to, started talking, when the minors started talking to the police, they started singing like canaries. And thank God, one of the good parenting things that Ruby instilled in her children was not to lie and honesty. And when an elder asks you a question, you tell them the truth. So it was instilled in them. When someone in a position of authority asks me to tell the truth, I have to tell the truth. So when her children started talking about her, they started singing like canaries. And one of her boys said that one of the, we're not going to call it a punishment, one of the abuse measures that Ruby would take against this little boy was making him jump on a trampoline in the sun for hours. They live in Utah in the summertime. That is a valley. There is no fucking trees. There is no, there's no trees for shade. No, you're in direct sunlight, bitch. Are you crazy? You're basically damn near in the desert. Like, in my brain, Utah and Nevada are very close, even though I know that they're not. In my brain, that they are. Because it's damn near the same climate in the fucking summertime. Anyway, day 2 of blank minor child jumping on mini trampoline. He needs lots of balance with coordination. Today, I asked him to take off his sock by balancing on the opposite foot. Lift one foot and remove the sock while staying balanced. He fell over, hit his nose on the ground, and began bleeding. I gave him a wet rag to wipe his face, toilet paper, and he dabbed his face. merely to smear the blood. Then he blew his nose so harshly through the toilet paper, he got new blood on his face and all over her shirt. The easiest exercises he asked to do, he refuses. With the one decrepit statue, with the decrepit stature you would expect of a 90-year-old, he plays completely helpless. His body is full of evil, puffy infection, and he won't participate in the responsibility of flushing it out. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with this bitch? July 10th, 2023. Mind you, she was arrested, I believe, August 10th or August 8th of 2023. So exactly a month before that she was arrested. It's blank birthday and he doesn't even know what month it is. Blank and blank have been in so much deviant behavior they won't control their bodily functions. That's what I was talking about in regards to her children not being able to control their bodily functions and pissing and shitting on themselves. And in her brain, it's because the devil and the demon inside them is telling them to do that. No, it's because you're beating the fuck out of them and they're scared of you and they can't control themselves. You dumbass bitch. They have been in such deviant behavior they won't control their bodily functions. They are both furious. Their selfish, sinful lifestyle is being intervened upon. I told blank he emulates a snake. He slithers, he sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is waiting. And then sorry y'all, fuck. Blank oh my God, I feel like I cannot read. I told blank he emulates a snake. He slithers, sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is watching, and then he scurries. If he wants to emulate the Savior, he needs to be 100% obedient with exactness. No wavering, no whatever the fuck. So in her brain, she's like, because Jesus suffered and died for our sins, you need to suffer as well. And to really feel and understand what Jesus felt, you need to feel pain too. That's not normal. That is not a normal thing that normal parents feel. That's not normal things that a Christian parent feels or that a God-fearing parent feels. Whatever your God happens to be, whether he is Allah, Yahweh, Allah Dumare, whoever your God is, Buddha, I don't give a fuck. Whoever your God is, that's not normal. Within no one's God is that normal. Because everyone's God is just the same God. And I'm pretty sure with God, that's not fucking normal. You know whose God is not the same God as mine? The fucking Mormon God. Because that nigga don't make no fucking sense. Okay, July 9th. Blank turns 12 tomorrow. I never envisioned him being 12. Still pooping / peeing himself. Satanic choices lead one to becoming destitute. Even the most affectionate homes. It's blank, okay, blah, blah, blah. Already read that. Blank lies, I mean all the time. He is compulsive. He is a compulsive liar. I never would have supported this entire experience. It is a shock to my system. I never would have suspected the cold, dead heart blank has. Sorry, y'all. There's like a blank. There's like a weird spacing in the text of what she wrote out. Knew where blank did it. Nowhere to look. He has always been able to get what he wants, and now that he can't, he is furious. The Savior used in his interactions, go sell all you have, follow me, go so... I can't read her fucking cursive. This is how I know she's getting more and more like fucking like crazy and like ridiculous, because I'm not even gonna try and lie. The more I'm reading the script, the harder it is to read. It's not because I can't fucking read. It's not because I'm drunk. It's not because I think I've been having a goddamn stroke. It's because this bitch is getting more and more like fucking erratic, that like this shit looks like jibber jabber and like fucking chicken scratch. If you can engage a weak minded soul in a physical activity of obedience, you can begin to break the bond of Satan. Okay, so I see. She thought that her children had the devil in them and had a demon in them, and the easiest way to get the devil out and to get the demon out was to physically punish them. You see how that don't make no motherfucking sense, and that's fucking stupid, and no one reads the Book of Mormon for reasons like this? Exactly. Okay, good. I'm glad that we got that out. I can't read any more of this because that bitch is, quite frankly, fucking insane. But I am going to end it off on saying this. I was right. It is worse than I thought. The editor definitely had all the secrets and definitely gave that shit over to Hulu after he got the shit back from the feds. And because of Ruby's, honest to God, what's the word? When you say that you did something. Admissions. With Ruby's admissions of guilt and the proof of admissions of guilt, that even if she said nothing you're saying happened and nothing that you're saying is true and everything is a lie, just with Ruby's admissions of guilt, just in her video footage that they were able to recover from the editor that the feds got, and just the journal entries themselves, I now understand why that trial took the short amount of time that it did. With that being said, y'all, be breezy, stay easy, y'all. Be safe, be careful. Carry that 9 on you, carry that knife on you. Keep a scope with a beam and a Glock with a drum. I love y'all. Be safe, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of the update. This is just a update episode for episode 1 of Clickbait Criminals. So this would just be episode 1.5, not episode 2. Episode 2 will be about Ash Trevino, and I have so much because that bitch has been on a roll of making herself look fucking stupid and embarrassing herself on the internet. So again, like I said, I love y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Again, all of my podcasts will be on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube at the moment that you are listening to this, it will be on YouTube within 3 days. If you listening to this, I already have 2 episodes on there. It will be the first episode of Clickbait Criminals and then the second episode of the Bimbo Breakdown. I will be uploading the first episode of the Bimbo Breakdown to my podcast because I completely forgot to even fucking upload that. I will also be uploading that to YouTube as well. The second episode is about Alabama Barker versus Bad Baby. And I love you guys so much. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye. Welcome.